Okay, so I got it all tilled, and I'm actually pretty pleased with the soil. And now I'm setting out my rows. So the way I do that is I take the length and I divide it by 26. And the reason why I picked 26 is because my wheel hoe is 14 and then 6 inches on each side. That gives you 26. So it's a foot from that stake to the first row, then it's 26 inches, 26 inches, 26 inches. And now what I'll do is I'll put a string between this bamboo and that one down there, if you can see it, and just run my wheel hole down there. What I have is, this is my IronAge Wheel Hoe, and you can see that I have, hopefully you can see that I have my plow shares on there. And what I'll do is I'll run those down first, and they'll gather the dirt and create a hill in the middle. And then what I'll do is, after I get all the rows made, I'll reconfigure those plows so that they throw dirt out, and I'll run down through the inside of the rows throwing dirt back up on the hills. And then I'll use my rake to make the hill even bigger, the row hills. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Okay, I'm out here at the garden. I have my wheel hoe with the plow shares back on, and I thought I'd show you how I make a hill. So the first thing I do is I run a string between the bamboo, that's my line, and I try to center the wheel hoe down that line. And what I'll do is I'll go down through there, and the plowshares will throw the dirt to the middle, and then I'll come back doing the same, and then that row will be done, and I'll move my string to the next bamboo. So here. So you can see that it's sort of a hill. So now I move the string and do all that again till all the rows are made. Then I'll change the configuration of the plow and do in between the rows. I'll show you that next, but I'll shut off the camera because you don't need to see every single row being done. Alright, I'll show you another row here. This is the third row. With the wheel hoe, the human is the mule, but it works pretty good. Okay, so I have all the initial rows done. Okay, so this is a row. That's the center of a row, or we'll call it a path, a walking path. And then a row here where this bamboo is, that'll be where more plants are planted. So now we have to get the dirt out of here and throw it to the sides so that the dirt, this dirt that's right here, is where we throw that out of there. Now you can see how originally I have these plows pointed to throw the dirt inside to create the hill. So now what I'll do is get my wrenches, take them off and swap places. This one will go over here and this one will go over here with the point of those in the middle, and then that'll throw dirt out. And that is how we'll get the dirt out of here and into each side. Nice and simple. So gotta get my wrenches. Okay, so got the wrenches, and you can see I turned the plows. So the points are in the middle, and they'll throw dirt out instead of in, like the way they were configured. And I'll just go right up through here. If the bamboo's in the way, I can pull we're done with the bamboo and the string, because we'll just go right up through here. So if that bamboo gets in my way, I'm just going to pull it. I'm leaving it in there now to remind me which one of these is the hill that I'm keeping and which one I'm throwing away, I'm throwing to the outside. I'm getting old. I don't I don't remember stuff like I used to. Okay, so using the wheel hoe, see it threw all the dirt to the outside, making this row here, this hill, even hillier. Now normally what I would do now is come back through here with a garden rake and just walk down the row and kind of dress them, and then I usually take and using the rake tamp it down just a little bit. On the ends here, there's two ways to handle this. See, because these end rows only got half a pile of dirt. One way to handle it is to take one of the plowshares off and go down alongside this, and then go down alongside that side. Um, but you can also just use your rake to kind of pull that dirt up and dress that. So I'm really happy with this dirt. I've worked pretty hard on it in the fall to get it ready for spring, and it shows. It's very loose, and it wants to be worked. And hopefully it'll produce. So same thing here on this edge. I could take one plow off and just run the plow down along here and throw the dirt here to this side of this hill. But it might just be easier to use the rake. But I like it so far. I like it the way it is. And so I'm going to pull these bamboo stakes and get them out of the way. We're done with those. Okay, so today I'm going to show you what I did with my little wheel hoe. This here is an old IronAge Wheel Hoe. It's a Model 6, and they were making these back in 1890 to about 1910 or so. Basically it's the wheels and this green hoop looking thing here you see, and then handles, and then what you do is you connect your different implements to that green thing here where you can see the bolts. So this wheel hoe is pretty old. It's probably over 100 years old. What I did was Haas Tool Company is making a Planet Junior knockoff, and so one of the things they developed was this little planter. So I ordered one, and it didn't quite fit the IronAge, so I had to make a bracket for it to fit. It was really quite simple. Basically, if you look there, that silver bar is all it took really to hook it up. The nice thing about the IronAge is that right here I can adjust the depth on the hoe to 3 settings. So on the very bottom setting, the planter is about level. Now that's right there is how on the little planter you set the depth gauge, and that's currently, I believe, set to 1/4 inch, not at 0. So what that means is that I'd have to go down, push that down a mark to get a 1/4 inch depth. That's really not a big deal because, as you'll see later in the video, I actually make hills with this wheel hoe using little plowshares that I got from Haas that fit this thing. So what's probably going to happen anyway is that my wheels are going to run right down the rows, and that depth is going to be, you'll see, it'll be cutting through the middle of the hill. So it's going to be too deep anyway. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I'll figure it out when I get there. It's a nice little planter. I like. It's a reasonable design. It's got a hopper where you put your seeds. That's where that is right there. Let's see if I can get the lid off. So in there is a brush bar, and in the bottom, the white thing with the holes is the seed plate. The thickness of the seed plate matters because you want it to be just thick enough to hold one seed. So you pour your seeds in there, and as this back wheel turns, it moves this chain which spins the mechanism, and that white plate goes round and round, and when it gets to the front, it drops a seed, and the seed falls to the ground. And of course the thing on the front here, this depth gauge, is cutting the ground open, and the seed falls into the ground. And then down here, this drag chain fills the little thing back in, the little trench back in, covering the seed. Your rear wheel packs down the dirt, gives it a little pack, and there you go. And then the little spikes on the wheel are to get traction so that it makes sure it turns. The little brushes are there to keep the seeds from getting all bunched up and to keep everything nice and running smooth. It's a nice little deal. I brought this thing out to show you because this is my old seeder. This is you maybe recognize this as the old Earthway seeder. I've used this. You can see it's almost like in brand new condition, even though it's used, because if you take care of them, they last a long time. I don't really like this seeder because its design is that the plate sits there on that knob and is turning vertically. So it works by catching a seed, bringing it up to the top, and dropping it in that hole right there. Let me back up. Catching a seed, bringing it up, and dropping it in that hole right there. And the problem with that design is that you have to keep your hopper pretty full of seeds for that to work well and consistently. And I don't buy bags and bags of seeds to fill that hopper. You know, I buy packets of seeds like everybody else. So that's the only real downfall of this little Earthway. Otherwise, everything works fine on it. It has a little. That's what that thing right there is, adjustable up and down. That determines the depth. The drag chain covers. You know, the seed falls down, falls into the ground. That covers it, and then the back wheel packs it. So there's. The front wheel is the drive. It has a belt here that drives the little thing. This is simpler as far as things breaking or whatever. But it would be better if it was designed like this. But we're going to find out this year, because I'm going to take this down to the community garden, and I'm going to put in a bunch of seeds, and I'll try to get some video of that happening, and then a while later we'll see how well it did. Then too, you can see here that I broke my handle the other day. So I ordered new handles for my IronAge. The holes didn't match, so I had to re-drill it. It wasn't a big deal. And the other change was the IronAge had this threaded rod through here to help hold this all together up here, as like a, you know, the dowel keeps them separate and the rod keeps them together type of thing, push and pull type of. So I went ahead and put that back in. Let's see if, so you can see I push forward, the plate turns, drops a seed. Okay, that's it for now. See you down at the community garden. And you can see my hills that I make with that wheel hoe. These are my onions, and I'm ready to plant. And you can see kind of the problem I was describing back at the house. My wheel hoe is going to run, the wheels are going to kind of run down along the sides of my hills, and it's going to set this a little deeper. I ran this one to show you what's going to happen. I ran it empty, and it actually, I think it's going to be okay, because what's going to happen is it's going to level off the top of the hill, and and make it flat. And then what I'll do is later in the year, when the plants come up, I can re-hill if I need to. So hilling's real handy when it comes to root vegetables. It makes it easier to grow them, water them, weed them, and harvest them. So what I'm going to do is, without any seed in this thing, I'm going to push it on down on all these 4 rows here that I got to do, and just kind of flatten them out and get them ready like this one is. Then I'll put the seed in and actually plant for real. That way, make sure I get it nice and level. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first. Okay, so I got those hills kind of flattened out with a empty seeder. Now I'm gonna start with broccoli to see what happens. That went pretty smooth, really. I'll check the hopper and see what's in there. Should have been almost all those seeds that I put in there. Okay, so I finished planting and it didn't really go that well. The problem is that with the little seeds, that plastic plate and the plastic hopper generate static electricity, and that causes the seeds to jump around erratically, and they don't go in the little holes, and they don't stay there, and they don't drop through. I think I know how to solve that problem. In fact, I should have thought of it before, because my earthway that I showed you earlier today had the same exact problem, and the way I solved it was by washing the plastic in real soapy, sudsy water, and it kind of got like a soap film or something on them, and that solved the problem. So I don't know if this is a different plastic, and maybe that won't work, I don't know, but it was a real problem with the small seeds, the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts, the carrots seeds. The other thing I don't like about this planter, is it doesn't have a shutoff on it. It'd be nice to have like a little door you could close. And it's hard to, when you have leftover seed, it's hard to get the seed out. What I did find was that little rubber top there that they sent is real helpful in just turning the hopper upside down, and that catches it. So I guess that's a possible solution. But other than that, I do like it. It runs smooth, and it isn't sticking or anything. So I think if I can solve the static electricity thing, the beets, which are a little larger, I think they actually went fairly well. I guess we'll know when they start coming up, if they come up. Alright, so that's all my seeding for today.